Like not girls trying to fuck.
Like I said, they wouldn't be shit without some of these big places. Put the people first. Fuck the people, man. Fuck them. Because they wasn't there. They was not there. Y'all ain't here now and y'all wasn't there. So why am I caring about y'all? Why am I talking about you? Why do you concern me? You ain't never been there. Whenever somebody arrives,
welcome to this podcast.
Every time I think and record, I don't record right. Hold on. At the beginning, though. This is 12 seconds in and I'm already critiquing myself. Like, what is wrong with me, bro? It's literally, I'm looking at the clock. 22 seconds. And I'm critiquing me. I'm like, whoa, he's coughing at the beginning. Like, the comments ain't as bad as me. Like, I'm worse than my own comment section, bro. My comment section don't give a fuck about me, bro. It's me. What is going on? Mic check. It's not peaking no more. But yeah, like, my comment section ain't as mean as I am to myself. And is that me trying to get ahead of that? Is that me trying to, like, almost not ever have to go through, like, a comment section roasting my shit because I'm roasting me before the comment section can ever roast me? So it's like, I'm roasted when you get to me. So it's like, that's what that is. That's a shell. Like, if I'm talking to my therapist, you think she's like, yeah, you trying to protect yourself. You ducking the smoke. You saying you want all the smoke, and it's because you already give yourself the smoke. So nobody can bring you smoke because you brought it to you. That's not really ducking smoke. Well, wanting smoke. Why should I want the smoke? That's weird too. Fuck you want smoke for, bro? Can't you? Don't you breathe it? Don't you breathe oxygen, nigga? Nigga want smoke. Why they teach black men to want smoke instead of like run from the smoke? Because where there's smoke, there's fire. Who is they? I keep saying they teach us. Like we don't have a brain for ourselves. Who is they to be teaching us shit, and who are we to be listening to them? That's the real question. But I ain't gonna ask that. I'm gonna just keep talking about them and they, because it's better for me, right? It's better for him. See what I'm saying? Him, she, they, it. It all. I know Tom, Jim, Shirley, all Woo! What we doing this episode, Jake? I didn't think I was gonna do this. I always think though. It's thinking. It's the thinking part. Yeah. So NASCAR people's right in the end, huh? No. I gotta come back and just give him his props, bro. He was right?
No.
How wasn't he right?
How was he right? What makes
About the thinking shit. You remember what he said? That's like a literally, like that's a verbatim NASCAR P quote. The thinking shit. That's the thinking shit. But that's the thinking shit.
I guess he's a little.
He told me we're not supposed to think.
Why wouldn't we think about about anything?
Hey, you are now at. Welcome to the Rondo Show podcast. You are now tuned in, because that's where I was at with it. Like, how far do I stop? Like, when do I start thinking? When do I stop? And also, what is thinking if you saying we're not supposed to do that? Yeah. Because I don't think you mean what I think you mean. I understand what you're saying for some reason. So that means that you're not saying what you're saying. See what I'm saying? Because I don't understand that. I don't understand how to do that. But then I also understand What you mean?
Yeah.
The thinking part is like, alright, it's self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the self-deception. Remember what we said? It was like an unforgivable sin on this podcast to really lie to yourself about you.
Oh, yeah.
I said before we started recording, I was like, man, maybe this is why. I mean, maybe this is why guys dip on this joint. Maybe they sense it in a subconscious way. Or maybe it's conscious.
Huh.
It may always be subconscious to me.
Yeah.
But tell that bitch from dip tell that from dip like I'm a notifier. I'm a communicator.
Yes.
In doing that, you expose your moves, your decisions,
Yeah.
which also divulges your plans and your thinking. Which also may make you more likely to be kind of threatened or offended by people who are quiet, withdrawn. You might think that they are like up to something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you project, you communicate. You're not an N-word motherfucker. Even though you are, you're very deep. You got some depth.
Mm-hmm.
But you also love expression, communication, divulging, like being open. And it's almost like a setup factor because you're setting yourself up in a sense where you tell everybody everything, and then when everybody does what they do, you now like, damn, how y'all do that to the nigga who I gave you everything? Yeah, and who told you to do that? And then what do I owe you for you doing something you wanted to do with you? What that got to do with me?
Yeah.
It's real, man. But yeah. What is this? Episode 101
Yes.
of a podcast. Do it like they do on GTA when like an organization sent an invite. It's like an organization. I'm just joining an organization. Okay. I'll join an organization. Like I don't know what the organization I'm joining is, but I'll join a motorcycle club. And then when I listen back, a lot of the things that I thought I used to do, I don't do as well as I used to. You can hear me talking better as I'm just consciously talking about me talking better. Mm-hmm. But I used to actually enunciate words and use letters and put a lot into the craft that I had at the time.
Yeah.
And now it's like a more comfort and a more lazy kind of manipulative approach to things, to where you can see that my mind and my vision may be far more ahead of my work ethic or what I'm putting into the actual thing day to day. So it's like when you have a plan for years ahead, you have to understand what energy and what type of threshold you have to break through and what type of criteria you have to meet today to make that happen tomorrow, to next year, to years beyond that. You can't put in 5 cents today, and because you put something in, tomorrow's gonna be millions. Even though that's true, it can't go like that. It's a rare situation, but also, at some point you're gonna pay.
Yeah.
I'm also a believer of that. Nothing's free. At some point you gonna pay, bro. That's what she said. But look, man. I'm not gonna fault anybody for nothing no more on this show. Have I done that?
I don't think you faulted anybody.
think that people have faults of themselves. I mean, I think it is what it is. The writing's on the wall, man. I don't need to do this to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even need the pod for people to know who people are. Me podding is like secondary to like... Me podding about somebody is secondary to what most people notice when they deal with these people in real life.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the last thing you think about in comparison to what you think about when you deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could talk about NASCAR P on the pod, but if you listen to the episodes he on, you hear it.
Yeah.
And it's not me, but it is. Because it's my podcast and it's me on here kind of spewing my toxicity and needing something to kind of balance my craziness and my what I'm trying to figure out without a therapist, and now I have one. But I was on a rogue street. Friends and family can always help you maintain a certain mindfulness that is necessary to execute, like I said, accordingly to your plan. But if people set you straight, people help you get back on track, you use all your coping skills and your go-to mechanisms and vices to soothe yourself, and you still take that newfound energy and that second leash on life, lease on life, I said leash, that second lease on life to actually spoil it, to play around, to abuse it, to use it as if you're God and like play this cocky role of who is these niggas, you know what I mean? I'm that nigga. But that's the other thing, like, from being around a nigga like him, he gets your ego hype.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know nobody who can be around SRP and not love themselves after that shit. And that's a compliment to that nigga. And when I say be around him, I'm saying, like, really be around him in a sense where not like y'all just acquaintances. To where you consider fam. He give you a certain... He put a certain battery on your back. Like a certain pressure that is like... Pause. But it's like... Very... Very... uncanny. You don't get that from nobody. Nobody tells you how dope you are.
Yeah.
That's why I always struggle as a CEO to value NASCAR P. I don't know how to gauge the value he brings me, because the easiest thing for me to say is that it's immeasurable. The nigga told me I was the GOAT. What do you do when a nigga tell you that you the GOAT? And he believed that. It's not a lie. It could be a lie. But regardless of what it was when it was given to you, what it did for you when it got to you.
Yeah. Huh.
Come on, man. I got a conspiracy side of my brain to where, and I'm sure this isn't true, but if somebody knew that about me, that I was seeking that type of what you want to call gratification, that they could exploit that and then tell me anything like that to get a certain energy out of me so that I can perform to a certain level to where they could benefit from it. I just don't know anybody that thoughtful, who goes that deep in thought to really use and abuse me in that way. People unintentionally use and abuse me, but they still use and abuse me, and I have to like defend myself and I have to work through it. Right? Would you consider it being intentional? From what you've seen? It's been a few years now, so you have experience. Surviving Rondo. You said what?
I said probably not always. intentional.
It has been though, is what you're saying.
I think so. Yeah.
I think it's always unintentional. And it might be a little ego in that. And it's because I believe that if you really knew how I react, if I knew, you wouldn't even try.
Yeah.
But you try me because you don't know. It's not a threat, but I think it's like the inverse of when like I said, being so open and just living your life different than people.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody don't live their life the same way. And when you live your life different than people and you are an open book and you're here for criticism and you're here for this and you're always trying to grow and all, everybody isn't the same way. Therefore, you can't project how you receive information or take your growth. You can't grow. You can't force how you grow on somebody else. All you can do is grow in your own individual path, and that was hard for me. I feel like me and this guy could still be co-hosts if I knew how to do me while he was doing him on my show.
Yeah.
The only difference now is I value him on my show differently than I did before.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
And there's no need to talk about that dead horse. I beat that. Pause, but I beat it. That horse is... What we doing right now? What you doing? So this is Watch Dogs 2.
Yes.
But what we doing?
Trying to escape the police to finish a mission.
But what's the mission?
I was hacking somebody's phone for a big company.
Uh-huh.
I wish I could tell you what it was supposed to be, but I'm not exactly sure.
Now you're driving into oncoming traffic, so you kind of have to focus on that. I get that. And you gained
3,200 followers?
32,000 followers, 400. 32,400 followers, wow.
Marcus, we got the plan B. They're going after the voting machines.
You see it like they're trying to like win over like
Yeah.
everybody.
After the vote. With the invite data, they can ignore ballots before a voter pulls a lever. Just found out where they keep the machines.
Watch Dogs is a great game, man.
It is.
On my way.
It's spiritual, but it's tech,
Some explosives.
I was hoping you'd say that.
right? Am I off?
No.
It's almost like what I expected to feel from Death Stranding,
Yeah.
but it's in hip, urban, technological video game where you hack and play GTA at the same time. Video game reviews. Let me stop. Fuck that. Yo, did Donnell really quit his podcast, yo?
Had to.
You always say that though. Every time he quit for a few months, I'll be trying to tell you he didn't quit. He's just trying to. He not just podding. Like he doing too much. Like when he think about podding, he think about he got to do too much that's gonna take him from this and that and that. Instead of just podding in a random room somewhere for 15 minutes and putting it out. He not gonna do that.
Yeah.
He gonna do too much. See what I'm saying? He gonna overthink it. He trying to compete with himself. And he ain't even got that good at potting yet. You gotta like, but whatever. That's my opinion on that. But he really quit, you think? You think he done? You think this is it? You think Donna Rollins' podcast is trash?
I don't think it's trash.
You on the Sean C shit. You know, we will never think that podcast is trash. At least not me. Not this podcast.
Yeah.
I think that shit is... Come on, man.
He's probably out.
His number one episode is that story about 40 drowning, bro.
Oh my gosh.
And he didn't even drown. Like, dog. That nigga said he strangled me. Like, this nigga came up to my face, bro. Like, he's nigga hugged me like Austin, bro. This nigga said this man hugged him like his son. When he ain't seen him in a long time. That is insane, bro. That's so... And, like, the reason that episode is so important to me... Fuck the story, man. The story is hilarious. Top 10, one of the top 10 stories I've heard. But... When I say top 10, I mean, like, pool stories, water stories. Real stories, too. Because people be lying. But, nah. What I'm saying is how David Deary, that whole episode, was quitting on this nigga Donnell. From the beginning. And to the end where he shit and never complimented his son's art. And how he just sat there as if Donnell didn't know what the fuck he was doing. And he was just going to let this man look stupid. If that's what that man wanted to do. Because he had stopped potting for 4 months.
Josh, please tell me you're not in there. Marcus, there's snipers on the roof. Snipers? What are you talking about?
To where he tells that story, he's like, blew this spot up. Why are you trying to make a comedian feel uncomfortable for telling a funny story? Why would you do that? Because this is on a podcast? You wouldn't do that if this was Dave Chappelle, man. Dave Chappelle could tell that story.
Yeah.
Nobody would make Donnell feel like he was out of place if he wasn't Donnell. It's Donnell. Donnell's the only person like me where he's so open. He's so Donnell that he gets to be... You are allowed to call me an asshole. You don't feel it wrong in that. Where if it's Dave Chappelle, you would question yourself before you call him an asshole. Hold on, maybe it's something with me going on. Maybe I don't get this. Maybe I don't understand. There's certain people that don't got that grace. Why? It got more to do with everybody else than to do with that person, and that's what we as these people have to understand.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? You can't just always put the people first. Fuck the people, man. Fuck them. Because they wasn't there. They was not there. Y'all ain't here now and y'all wasn't there. So why am I caring about y'all? Why am I talking about you? Why do you concern me? You ain't never been there. Whenever somebody arrives, do I now kiss their ass? Do I owe you something? Because you showed up to what I made? That doesn't validate or define what I did. What I did is me. I did it. Like, who are you? Right. You have no answer. Not you. This one scream domestic violence from Rondo. He's emotionally abusive. He's very vulgar to his wife. They didn't put the wedding on Instagram, so I don't believe they're actually married. But hold on, Pod Pickett. Fuck, what have I been listening to? I know this ain't a part, but baby, come and slide on a nigga. Let me show your ass where to start. Put Heart, soul, and mind on a nigga. Yeah. Yo, Tory Lanez is the GOAT guy legend of the past 5-6 years. I'm gonna say 8. Just cause I was late. So I'm gonna give him 2 just cause I don't know. Maybe he was on it even harder than that.
Yeah.
Before. But Tory Lanez is a GOAT guy legend, bro. And y'all, everybody's sleeping on Tory, and it's not because of Tory. We know the most evil bitch on this that we ever talk about on this podcast, Meg Thee Stallion. You know who it is. This is probably the devil, man. It's a good chance. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a good chance that the bitch drink blood. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh gosh.
So she's like a vat of acid type motherfucker. So nah, I really think what happened that night was they were scared of her. She was about to kill him. Meg is probably stronger than both of them put together, and she was probably about to beat the life out of them. And somebody said, "Gun, boom, shoot this bitch." I'm not going to kill her though. I'm gonna shoot her in the foot. So she stopped running at me with her fucking ultra big. Meg Thee Stallion she has a body of a trans person. She's a man. That's a strong woman, man. She's from Texas, bro. Imagine she is heartbroken right now. Not only heartbreaking is one thing, being cheated on is one thing, but when it's your best friend, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Not only is your best friend, but it's with a nigga like Tory, the nigga that you love the most. You haven't met a nigga you love like this. Bro, you gonna kill somebody. Somebody gonna die. Somebody gonna get hurt.
Yes.
I think they both was worried, so they shot the bitch. And I don't think it was. I think somebody said shoot her. Somebody said, "What are you waiting for?" Somebody said, "Get her." Something has to happen. She's not gonna stop. She's about to kill us. You don't want to be in the hands of Meg under that pressure. Hell no, man. Let me stop making up stories. I don't know what happened. I'm supposed to be doing pod picks, and here I am talking about drama. Nobody asked me to talk about Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. But it's the music, man. The music for me is the greatest shit that I've heard in a long time. Fuck Drake. So no. Let me stop. It's some good shit. Sorry for what? That's what it's called, right? Sorry for what?
I think so.
Sorry for what? Yeah. That's hard. But it's not about I just felt like me personally, I wasn't a good fan. I've said that on this podcast too. And that's the other thing, bro. When niggas like NASCAR P quit on you, when niggas like that quit on you, is this shit fucking recorded, motherfucker? I don't want to say nothing until that shit recorded. Alright, there we go. When niggas like that quit on you, bro, they don't realize that you had plans. They don't understand that I was building a subliminal message for over 25 episodes. You were a valuable piece of that story. in that message. I was building it with you. And you just rip your part out. I have to now, what? Because it's over now.
Yeah.
What was I even doing before that? That matters now. You have to make it matter. So you gotta do some goat god shit. I always do though. Shout out to everybody who viewed this. Subscribe to Rondo the Kiid on YouTube. Subscribe to the Rondo Show podcast. Follow us on Spotify and all other podcasting platforms. We are on every single podcasting platform, even the ones that you don't use. We are on those podcasting platforms. Shout out to Pod Chaser for promoting our podcast. Shout out to Good Pods on Twitter for promoting our podcast, and Pod Chaser on Twitter. Subscribe to us, KKM Media Company on YouTube, and subscribe to me, Rondo the Kiid on YouTube, and just my random thoughts every day. New gaming streams every day. KKN Gamer World, shout out. KKN Gamer World TV. I love y'all. Episode 101, man.